Hello, BookTube. It's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Sorry, I wasn't sure what day it was for a second. And it's time for shelf 3 of my transport section. So a mixture of things. There's some railways here. There's still sort of road stuff as well. That's where sort of this collection originated, was the roads and taverns and things. So let's jump right into it. Well, here's, like, it goes back to the planes, trains, automobiles, and here's automobiles, veterans of the road, the story of veteran cars and the Veteran Car Club of Great Britain by Elizabeth Nagel. Get the glare off that. And this is Arco Publications, 1959. There's it's by Elizabeth Nagel, and technical data by Dennis Field, A-M-I-E. Audible, yeah, something like that, I'm not sure. And it's got a huge section example of 85 examples of veteran vehicles illustrating the development of the motor car from 1875 to 1916. And it's got photographs and technical data for each of these, for each one. The price, it's got the original price. For instance, this Cadillac was £200 in 1903. So yeah, it's quite an interesting little book. I've not read it from cover to cover. I have perused it at various times and read a few chapters and looked at the section in the back. Just trying to find somewhere to stack these while I continue on. Here's another one, the motor car, 1765 to 1914. And you say 1765? Yeah, 1765. And that's Anthony Bird. It's a Batsford book, one of my sort of favorite general publishers. And that was published in 1916. Or, sorry, 1960. And let's see if I can get an example of an early vehicle. Yeah, beginning 1765. There we go. A little steam carriage. There's not too many pictures of that for some reason. There's other ones in other books. Oh, this is a good one here. Pre-Victorian automobile. W.H. James steam drag had a fully sprung back axle, a well thought out steering gear, pedal controlled 3-speed transmission, and gas lighter. And it's reproduced from the patent specification 1833. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. Or it is to me. Hopefully to someone out there it's interesting as well. Okay, this one is a bit out of place to a certain extent. But because it does have stuff to do with shipping or shipbuilding and so forth, it's in here. And I think, yeah, it was like a pound or £2. It's The Ocean in English History, being the Ford Lectures by J.A. Williamson. And that was published by Oxford at the Clarendon Press, 1941. just a plain cover, as is usual for them. So yeah, it's a bit of a out of place there, but it still has some relevance. Here's an interesting one. It's sort of book related as well. There's no dust jacket. It's gonna be difficult to read that. It's the Inns and Taverns of Pickwick. And over the probably last decade, I've been picking up a few things regarding Pickwick. I think I've got about 4 or 5 books now that are sort of interesting and odd things like this. And yeah, it's the Inns of and Taverns of Pickwick with some observations on their associations by B.W. Matz. 31 illustrations by C.G. Harper, L. Walker, Arch, Webb, and from old reprints and photographs. The C.G. Harper we saw yesterday in those, or the last one, those little red story of Manchester Road or the Glasgow Road and things like that. But yeah, there's some really fabulous drawings in there, and there's photographs as well. And like, you know, these are the real inns, so it's book related to a certain extent, but it's also there's a lot of reality to it. Yeah, you can see foxing there quite badly, but this was, I think, £1, so something I couldn't pass up. This is a fabulous book. It's due for a reread at some point, and I want to get the rest of the books by this guy. It's The Inns and Taverns of Old London by Henry C. Shelley. Sir Isaac Pitman and Sons. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the date here. It's 1898, I think it is. 1909. Sorry, 1909. Yes, 1909. And it's got a beautiful frontispiece in color. That tells me it's King's Head Tavern, Fleet Street. And this, one of my sort of earlier videos I did, was sort of a bit of a rabbit hole. There's a story that's told in here. That's where I first came across it. There's a story regarding a coffeehouse or / tavern where it was common for scholars to go to, and there was an argument for a was it a verb, a Greek verb in the Iliad, I think it was, and in order to and it was an argument between 2 scholars, so they went outside. They took the argument outside and had a duel, and one was run through and killed. So be careful about your Greek verbs, because there will always be somebody with a sword nearby. Here's another one on inns. Oh, another interesting thing with this one, it's again another copy from, or a book from, the library of Sir A.E. Richardson. Yeah, another book on inns. Sort of the history, legend, and romance of some of our older hostelries. Illustrated from pencil drawings by W.M. Kesey, from a number of old prints and from photographs. It's Trust Houses Limited, 2nd edition, 1929. And it's actually quite good. It's a fun read. There's a drawing, but with motor cars in front. Just extremely well illustrated. It's a sort of a nondescript book. It's discolored over age. Did I say what year it was? Yeah, 1929. So it's the second edition. Oh, here's another one. One of the old Dovers. When Dover editions were nice. They were actually sewn once upon a time. This is not British, but I couldn't pass it up, and for lack of anywhere else to put it, I've put it in this section. It's Stagecoaches and Tavern Days by Alice Morse Earl with 155 illustrations. It's American stagecoaches. Published in 1969, the Dover edition. Originally was done in 1900 by Macmillan Company. But it's something I used to have when I was in Canada, so I'd read this, but I haven't read it for 25, 30 years. But yeah, when I saw it, I couldn't pass it up. I think it was, I don't even think it was £1. So it's the type of thing where I can't pass something up like that, because I remember it being really good. This is a nice book. It's Lighthouses and Light Ships. It is full leather, but it's also, if you see, there's a stamp on there. It was a prize edition for Craigmount House School, the Grants, Edinburgh. And it was given to Thomas Hill for arithmetic and mathematics, 3rd class, I think. Session 10, 20, 30, 50. $1930 something, I think. It's from 1871. Wait a minute. No, it's oh, my brain's nowhere. I can't read Roman numerals, but anyway, I'll show it there. And it's published by Nilsson and Sons, 1871. It's by W.H. Davenport Adams, and it is lovely illustrated with engravings. Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting to put my phone on silent when I do a video, because if I'm not reading, I leave it, I take it off silent. Oh, it's got a little bit of dried flour in it, or a few. Yeah, so it's a nice little book. For a while there, I was sort of treating myself occasionally to sort of full leather books, and I particularly like the ones that have the stamps that were given as prizes at schools. Let me put that one there. I don't want that one to get damaged. Well, I don't want any of them to get damaged, but here's another one, Dickensian Inns and Taverns by B.W. Matz, like the Pickwick one. This is Cecil Palmer, and it was published in first edition 1922, and this is the second edition 1923. And again, it's just the taverns that are mentioned in Dickens. Okay, here we go. Well, yeah, we do have everything: planes, trains, and automobiles. Here's a sort of biography history of the Wright Brothers by David McCullough, a fabulous writer, historian. And again, it's not British, but it was something that I couldn't pass up. I think, do I have a price in here that I paid for it? I don't think, if I paid, the most I would have paid for this was £2. So pages are stuck together here. So Simon & Schuster, well, it's not fully cut. It's not been read. It's still very tight. I'm not sure the date on it. I can't get to it, so I do apologize for that. Here's another one, The English Channel, A History by J.A. Williamson. Again, it'll take in shipping and other things that were happening on it, the wars and so forth. This was Collins, 1959. It's like the making of the Channel, Britain and Roman, the Saxon centers, or the Saxon century, sorry. The rise of the western ports, Channel shipping. Yeah, it just goes on. Spanish War, highway to the ocean and the colonies. So yeah, that fits in with the collecting ideal. Here's we got the trains here now. Unusual Railways by B.G. Wilson and J.R. Day. And it talks about all sorts of different railways, atmospheric railways that were done in the 1800s. This is Frederick Muller, Limited, 1960. Second revised impression, and there's just some fabulous photographs in it. And yeah, it's just all the unusual bits and pieces that were created for railways. And then here again is More Unusual Railways by just J.R. Day. This is Frederick Muller Limited again. This is 1960, and it's just more of the same. Supported monorails, guide rail systems, moving platforms, railways, and gradients, Talgo, and similar systems, some other unusual railways. And let's just go back to the other one. Let's see what it says. Ship railways, rack and similar systems, cable worked railways, funiculars, atmospheric railways, guide rail systems, pneumatic tire systems, monorails, overhead railways, concrete tracks, and some other systems. So quite interesting. They tried everything. Here we go. An Eye on the Thames. That is by Alan Weeks. And Jared's is the publisher, 1966. It says, the eye with which he views the river is sharp and unsentimental. The style in which he reports what he sees is astringent and objective. He is entertainingly informative on such uncompromising aspects of geology and pollution. But there's also things about the shipping and so forth, with some history and just the Thames as a sort of highway in a sense that was used. It's a series that I couldn't really pass up. It's not really, again, fit with this, but they're really cheap. It's a Blandford color series, not Batsford, Blandford. Naval First Strike Crafts and Patrol Boats. And they're nice little books. They're heavily illustrated with all the details of all the ships. It's there's nothing hugely detailed with these, but they're still just fun. They're fun books. Here's Forgotten Railways, North and Mid Wales by Rex Christensen. It's David and Charles series. They've done a huge series on railways. And yeah, there's the regional history of railways of Great Britain is on the back there. I've got a few of them. It's a set I'd love to complete. This is... It's David and Charles, as I say, 1976. Yeah, it's just a railways that are sort of no more in Wales, and it's a brief history of them and talking about them. Here we go. This is another Shire publication. This is Victorian Edwardian Horse Cabs by Trevor May. Beautiful cover on there. This one is published 1999. There's just they're the usual, very short introduction to the subjects, like a little essay in essence, and just well illustrated. Here's an era stage and mail coaches by David Mountfield. Just the usual as well. And this is 2003. A few other things that are kind of neat. Popular Carriages, or Popular Carriage, 2 centuries of carriage design for road and rail, London British Transport Commission. It's a little pamphlet that they put out by Hampton Ellis in 1962. It's just literally exactly what it says, a little history of popular carriages, and just well illustrated as well. This one's Early Motor Bus by Charles E. Lee. Again, British Railways Board, 1964. And again, it's a little news clipping that says the tram race that never was. And yeah, it's just let's get a double picture page here with some pictures on it. This is a great one. The motor car and its history. G.R. Gibson, FRSE. It's a little rough, but I like the little embossed car on there. And it's Sealy Service and Company, 1927. And I think I've got a bookmark in a certain place. No, actually not. It was just, yeah, there's things like this. The windmill carriage. That's from 1648. Whether that actually moved at all or did anything is another question. And here's another one with sails. kind of reminds me of, I'm going to read it next week, is the Martian Chronicles. They've got some land vehicles that move with sails. Here's a rough little one. Coaching days and coaching ways. I think I've got... Is this... Wait a minute. I've got another edition of this. A nicer edition. I think this is it. Yes. By W. Outram Tristram. This little one is Macmillan and Company, 1910. It's in rough shape, but here's a reprint of it in a larger format by Bracken Books, who's sort of a bargain bookseller. The jacket's in rough shape, but I found this in Cambridge. It was just being put out in the window. Illustrated by Herbert Railton and Hugh Thompson. If Amy's watching, she'll recognize the name Hugh Thompson. He's popular, or was a popular illustrator, and he did a lot of the J.M. Barrie, giving them a start and so forth. And it's just tales of from sort of coaching, people who did coaching, and that ran coach drivers. I can't remember what they're called now. This is nice bats for the Bridges of Britain by Eric de Meer. It's quite spotty on the edges, foxing. But yeah, there's the frontispiece, which is on the cover as well. And that was published in 1954. That belonged to Christopher Fison-Stell. I mentioned Richardson. Here's another architectural historian. He was more into oh, sorry, I forget now. Like a certain church architecture, not. Sorry, my brain's gone. I can't remember what the name of it is. The style. But yeah, this is just a history of British bridges in the UK and Britain. Hoping that'll stay. Yeah, this one I sort of hummed and hawed over with because there's not much to it. It's you can see it's sun-faded as well. An assemblage of 19th century horses and carriages from original sketches by the late William Francis Freelove, written by Jennifer Lang. There's not much to it at all, but it's nicely illustrated. So, and I think I probably paid all of £1 for it, so I don't know why I hummed and hawed over it, but I did. This one's kind of neat. Again, it's not sort of fully with this subject, but it's an interesting little monograph. 100 Years of Submarine Cables from Science Museum, London, 1950. His Majesty's Stationery Office, 1950. And it's exactly what it says. It's early years of land telegraphy, and just, yes, underwater cables, and it's well illustrated. It's a sewn little book. So yeah, it's something they sort of can't pass up. This is a fabulous book. I love the gold embossment. It's rough. It's Ex Libris LC, I think, Algar, or Elgar. Oh, it's Algar. I was thinking Alcar. No. This is On the Track of the Mail Coach. And it is being a volume of reminiscences, personal and otherwise, by F.E. Baines, Richard Bentley and Sons, 1895. And it's exactly what it says. It's reminiscences of a mail coach in the New Forest, Cornwall, just wherever. And it's just a fabulous book. Oh, another large book on bridges, The Book of Bridges, by Frank Brangwyn, I guess, and W. Shaw Sparrow. Nicely decorated. It's The Book of Bridges. Again, beautiful frontispiece. And it's John Lane, The Bodley Head. There's no date there. And there's no date on it, sorry. But it's well illustrated. There's nice illustrations throughout. They're all watercolors. They're just gorgeous. Not all color, as you can see. Let's find one other one. Let's try to find another color one. There we go. And this is not all just British either. It's other bridges. I'm running out of space here because I can't put anything else. It's top heavy. You've seen this one before, but a long time ago. London's Coffeehouses, A Stimulating Story, Anthony Clayton. It's got a little reference to that duel that I mentioned earlier. It's historical publications. £2, yeah. I don't know. Highway robbery. Historical publications. 2003, and it's a brief little history, but it's actually quite good. It's short and concise. I'll see if I can get, and I won't do it now, but for next time I'll see if I can get. I've got a big book, sort of listing all the coffee houses of London, which is just a beautiful book. Here we go. What do we got here? Yeah. Again, like I had a book on windmills, and here's a little off print from the transactions of the Newcomb Society, 1957 to 58 and 58-59. It's The Drive to the Stones in Windmills by Rex Wales and M.I. May E. Past president. And it's exactly what it says. It's just the drive that's down to the stones that drives or turns the stones. And it's just a little essay. This is a fabulous one. It's The Highway and Its Vehicles. It's Hilary Belloc, and some might be surprised at that. This was, I was contemplating doing this has Steve read it, but I think that would have been naughty. I'm sure he's read Hilary Belloc, but he's probably not read this one. But even so, it still wouldn't have been that fair. It's a limited edition to 1,250 copies, of which this is number 260. Published by the studio, 1926, I think it is. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous book. Tipped in plates. Yeah. It's just a gorgeous book. And here, there's little things that are mixed in with it. And here's a book that's on yachting. It's an advertisement. When, you get stuff like this that are just beautiful little things describing the book. And the first one has, at the beginning, it's subscribers to this volume, and it's just listing other volumes that you can get. As well. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. I don't know if I showed that one, but that's a nice one as well. Okay, we've got 3 more books. I can move these, and if Mark Richardson is watching, I think he'll be interested in this one. You may even have it. He didn't mention anything about British lifeboat system. It's the Lifeboat Service, Oliver Warner. History of the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, 1824 to 1974. It is published by Cassell in London, and the date is 1974, so hence going up to 1974, with lots of photographs as well as drawings, and it's exactly as it says. It's history of the lifeboat service, the Royal National Lifeboat Service. Oh, here we go back. I should have had this together with it. This is a nicer copy than the old London Inns. This is Old Country Inns by H.P. Maskell and E.W. Gregory. Pitman. This one's in a little better condition. Still quite foxed. Sir Isaac Pitman and Sons, 1910. And it's exactly, again, it's like the other one, little histories and tittle-tattle and tales from inns, old inns from the country. And we finish up with English Inn Signs, Chattel and Windus book. There's a stag on the cover. It doesn't have a dust jacket, sadly. It's 1951, being a revised and modernized version of History of Signboards by Jacob Larwood and John Camden Houghton, with a chapter on the modern inn sign by Gerald Miller. And it's got everything. It's well illustrated and so forth. It's quite a nice book. As I say, it doesn't have the dust jacket for some reason. There's no price in it, so I can't remember how much I paid for it. Not much, I'm sure. Yeah, the King's Head, Young's and Crawshaw. There we go. That's shelf 3, and let's see now. Sunday, I think, will be my next one, because I'll do Friday reads, and then the book to film this week I'd asked on my Friday reads for people to choose one of four, and the one that got, I think, 3 votes was A Gun for Sale, which is what is it? It's the Alan Ladd. It's A Gun for Hire, but it's a Graham Greene book, which I'll actually be started hopefully today and finish it tomorrow, and then watch the film on Friday and prepare the video for Saturday. So Sunday will be shelf 4, and I will see you on Friday for Friday Reads. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care, Buck Toot.